It's time for the whole 9 yards. Hello again, everybody. Time to prepare for week 2. Another full slate awaits. Here are the whole 9 yards on Northeast Conference football. Let's get right to it on the opening drive. We'll start with the traveling Dukes of Duquesne University. Jerry Schmidt's crew hits the road for a second straight game against an FBS opponent. After TCU in week 1, it's MAC member Ohio on the schedule this week. The Ohio Bobcats dropped a 29-9 decision at Syracuse, but they'll undoubtedly pose a challenge for the Dukes, who are dealing with an injury to starting quarterback Joe Mishler. Now, whoever takes the snaps for Duquesne on Saturday will have plenty of reliable targets to throw to. All NEC receiver Cyrus Holder had 2 nice big gainers at TCU, while Joey Isabella and Davey Henderson are proven producers. Merrimack steps up in class this week, facing Patriot League favorite Holy Cross. The Crusaders are coming off a victory over FBS member UConn, and their dual threat QB Matthew Sluka will test Merrimack's talented secondary. On the other side, the Mac's quarterback will look to follow up a phenomenal debut. QB Weston Elliott threw for 401 yards and 5 TD passes against St. Anselm in week 1. More on him in this week's Chop Shop later in the show. Now, it doesn't get any easier for LIU. The Sharks continue their way through a season-opening 3-game gauntlet. Stepping up to the Big 12, LIU visits West Virginia in week 2. Despite eventually being overpowered at Florida International last week, the Sharks made their share of impressive plays, including this connection from Camden Orth to Derek Eugene to the house. St. Francis put some positives onto film during its first ever FBS game at Eastern Michigan. Now Chris Valerio's Red Flash try their luck against a top 10 FCS opponent in Delaware. We'll have more on an SFU offensive star in our next segment, but now for the Red Flash defense, that's a unit that has plenty of experienced, capable pieces, and SFU's upset hopes will likely hinge on that defensive unit's effectiveness. And how lucky are we? We get a taste of conference play in week 2. 2 NEC matchups on the docket. First, it's Central Connecticut at Wagner. Both teams looking to rebound from season-opening setbacks. Both teams have new starting quarterbacks who are trying to find a rhythm. On defense, you'll see 2 of the top-performing defensive backs on the circuit. CCSU cornerback Dexter Lawson was uber productive in the week 1 matchup against Southern Connecticut. Lawson with a tackle for a loss, an interception. He also logged a pass breakup. Wagner strong safety Ahmad Lyons is a grizzled veteran. One of the Seahawks' 2 team captains, Lyons has the potential to be a difference maker. Catch CCSU and Wagner live via NEC Front Row and the NEC On the Run app. The NEC's featured games package kicks off in week 2 with a New England rivalry game between Sacred Heart and Bryant. After a complete team victory over Bucknell, SHU officially begins its NEC title defense up in Smithfield, Rhode Island. These two teams did not meet during the abbreviated spring season, but these teams featured the top 2 rushers in the Northeast Conference. Sacred Heart's Julius Chestnut was at it again in week 1 with 170 yards and a score. And Bryant's Daniel Adebaboye, well, he found pay dirt too in the setback at URI. 2 capable backs who will control the ground game, who will notch that important first conference victory. Watch it unfold via ESPN3 and the ESPN app. Paul Dottino, Kevin Gilbride, John Schmelk on the call from Smithfield. Now let's check in on the NEC stock market. I'll tell you whose value is on the rise. Now, the St. Francis passing attack lost its top receivers from the 2019 team, but Katiro Summers stepped up big time in the Red Flash's 2021 season opener at Eastern Michigan. 6'3", 205 pounds, a Keystone State product, Summers made 5 catches for 115 yards. He had a 51-yard gainer, a 35-yarder. In fact, all 5 of Summers' catches went for first downs. Yes, it's a small sample size, but there is a lot to like from the season opening performance by Katiro Summers. This Red Flash receiver, his stock is all the way up. All right, I'm taking the Twitter timeout. Time to look at the tweet sheet. We go to our buddy Bill from the Providence Journal. And Bill, I couldn't agree more. What a beautiful sight. Just a lovely setting for an Ocean State rivalry game in Kingston between Bryant and URI. A terrific way to kick off a new season. Great to see fans back in the stands. And Bill was there to cover it all. So be sure to read his work at projo.com. Stats amazing. You know, stats amazing, and stats 10 in a row for Sacred Heart when it comes to home openers under head coach Mark Nofri. The Pioneers beat up on Bucknell in front of a packed house at Campus Field. It was Sacred Heart's 3rd straight victory in the series with Patriot League member Bucknell, but even more impressive, a perfect 10-0 in season home openers with Mark Nofri at the helm. And one more stats amazing number for you, 4,201. That was the attendance at Campus Field. And you better believe it felt good for Coach Nofri and the Pioneers. We're almost through the entire show, but before we go, it's an edition of the Chop Shop. I sat down with NFL Draft Bible's Rick Saratella. Chop Shop is back, open for business. We're talking NEC football with Rick Saratella of NFL Draft Bible on SI.com. Rick, a draft guru, is also a scout for the NFLPA Collegiate Bowl. And we like to talk with him on a weekly basis, chop it up. He lets us know who his top performers were. He lets us know what we have to look out for in the games ahead. We do it every week here, or we try to at least, and it's great to welcome you back, Rick. Week one is in the books. What were your impressions?
Thanks for having me again here, Ralph. We're revved up, ready to go. The season's kicked off, right? It's big time action against some FBS schools, and so we saw a lot of top performers. But it's going to sound like a broken record if you tuned into the Chop Shop last year and previous seasons. It's Julius Caesar Chestnut. This young man is off to an incredible start once again. Sacred Heart, their first shutout in 21 years. What a better way to do it than win 21-0 on the back of Julius Chestnut, who had 26 carries, a $170 on the ground. And here's the fascinating thing, Ralph. Talk about moving the chains. You know he's a bigger back. Julius Chestnut did not have a run longer than 21 yards all day long. So what he did was wear down that Bucknell defense, milk the clock, and it became an easy victory for Sacred Heart, 21-0. Julius Chestnut going on to winning Northeast Conference Offensive Player of the Week, and deservingly so.
On the Walter Payton Award candidate, Julius Chestnut, what else did you see from around the NEC circuit in week one?
Well, watching Northeast football, I heard a little birdie whisper in my ear, "Go West, young man. Go West, young man." Weston Elliott, he was shot out of a cannon. You know, the transfer from Louisiana Tech via Blinn College, lighting up the scoreboard in the 55-23 win over St. Anselm. He was like a hose on the football field. He was spraying it around. He had 10 different wide receivers on the day. 10. That's a reception for pretty much every eligible wide receiver on the team. And so the Lubbock, Texas native making a little bit of a home for himself up there at Merrimack.
All right. We got a quarterback, a running back. How about somebody from the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, got to show love on both sides of the ball. And we're going to go with another senior here, Ralph. He is my favorite, Martin Foray Jr. 12 tackles on the day, big pass deflection. Did it in a losing effort against Eastern Michigan. We talked about the NEC playing a slew of FBS opponents here in week one, and Foray Jr. coming up big in a losing effort. He did have 77 tackles now back in 2019. Of course, St. Francis opting out a season ago, but if Foray can recapture his form from 2019, I look for him to lead the team in tackles and possibly the Northeast Conference.
All right. 3 guys that really impressed Rick in week one. Now let's look ahead to week two. What's circled on your week two calendar?
Yeah, getting back to conference play here, Ralph, in week two. I know Bryant and Sacred Heart will be featured as the key matchup on the ESPN3 side of things, but I'm going to go with Central Connecticut State coming off of the disappointing loss this past week, visiting Wagner. And, you know, it's going to be a very heavy-hearted day, the 20th year of 9/11, September 11th, and the 20-year anniversary. And so right there in Grimes Hill, Staten Island, New York, not too far from that infamous day, I think it's going to mean a lot to our country, a lot to our players, a lot to the community, and of course, it's going to impact all of us here in the Northeast, especially on that Wagner campus. So regardless of how the outcome plays out, all eyes will be on Grimes Hill come Saturday.
Well, obviously, Rick, of course, September 11th, a somber day in our nation's history. We will never forget, and they certainly won't forget come Saturday at Wagner. And I just want to thank you for joining me in the week two Chop Shop, bringing the people what they want, more of that hard-hitting NEC football analysis. He's Rick Saratella of NFL Draft Bible. I'm Ralph Ventry. Thank you for watching the NEC Football Chop Shop. So now you're good to go for week two in NEC football. I'm Ralph Ventry. Thank you for watching. This is the Whole 9 Yards.